Yo, what's going on, guys? This time we're doing an F1 video. It's been a while since we've done this. Well, done a video on YouTube anyway. We're just, obviously from the title, we're just seeing how you can do a setup very easily. I made this setup earlier today. It took me about an hour-ish, maybe an hour and a half, maybe hour 15, something like that. To get this time, top 11%. That's the setup. This is only the second setup I've done. Since I made it. Before we didn't set a time in Imola. So, the front wing, I just genuinely is based off of feel. Like, you can like look at the track if you need to. Like, so for instance, Imola, there's quite a lot of high-speed corners, or mid to high-speed corners. For instance, I think it's turn 6. No, sorry, turn 9. Turn 11 is fast. 17, 18, the last two corners, they're quite fast. But also the main straight is very long, which means that you need very low downforce, or at least a lowish downforce. So like if I was going to go like 30, 32, let's say, that's a high downforce setup, and you're gonna focus on probably sector 2. You're gonna try and perfect that. But in this case, it's not worth it, because sector 1 is just straight with with 2 chicanes. Sector 2 is obviously very cornery, but it's not worth focusing on sector 2, because in sector 3 it's just a straight chicane and 290 degrees. So it's quite basic. So yeah, obviously you have the front wing, rear wing, that it controls your traction. So you get to see, well, not your traction, but like how much you accelerate. So if I have this all the way up like that, as soon as I exit a corner, I can go faster on the throttle than I would if I went to 0 like that. So that's what that does. On F125, I'm not sure about other F1 games or other games in general. The front aero is more, it affects your delta more in the straight line. So if I go 2 on this, it's more effective than me going 2 on this. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the airflow. I'm not really an aerodynamist, so obviously I don't know that. So yeah, onto the transmission. I actually don't know what the on throttle to 100% actually does. I just know that's something that all the pros do, so I just do it. I have tried putting that down to like, I don't know, that 10%, and it didn't work as well as 100. 100 is just more consistent. You can be fast with like 10%, but 100 is more consistent. Adjustment of throttle. It's kind of like the rear wing, slightly, in a way. It can allow you can give you more traction on the off throttle diff. Front cam, well, all of this, camber and toe, you just want to put minimum. It just increases your, so if you put it up, it increases the amount of understeer you get. So if I had an understeer setup, I'd go like that on all of them. I'd go full. Probably. I'm not actually 100% because I don't use understeer setups. I'm not actually sure what the setup would be if you like to understeer, but I think if it was me, I'd go like that. So reverse what I just did, what it was. So yeah, obviously that, yeah. Front suspension, rear suspension. The front suspension, I'm not actually sure what it does. Again, they're the only two things that I don't know what they do. Just on throttle and front suspension. Front suspension, I don't know what it actually does. I know it says it all there, but it doesn't give you like what the benefit is or what the loss is, like all the pros and cons. The rear suspension, it gives you more understeer, but it's not by much. So if you put it as soft, it gives you more understeer, but it's not much. But the car spins out less if you have a low rear suspension. The front anti-roll bar and the rear anti-roll bar, I don't know much. I know it's quite important to the setup, but normally you want it around, so minimum, like actual minimum, like that's if you have no sharp corners. You go 13 at minimum, and obviously at most it's gonna be 21. Obviously for here I've got it on 20, just because there's so many chicanes. And the front anti-roll bar, so if you go up, this gives you stability. So the more front anti-roll bar you have, the more stability. And obviously the less, you have less stability. This, it gives you more oversteer. So when you have a wider gap, it's more oversteery. Obviously the lower gap, less oversteer, but then more stability. The front ride height, obviously that's quite obvious / drag. So if you were to have it up here, you'd go slower than if you were to have it, whatever was it, I think I was at 19 or 20. I'll say that I was on 19. So obviously this is close to the lowest that I can get. Maybe not the lowest, I could probably go lower. Also if you're changing it, it's quite sensitive. So if I go onto track now, which I won't, I'll hear like the scraping of the floor. I'll put that on video now. So that sound, that kind of, that's the floor making contact with the ground. You don't want much of it, but at the same time you don't want none, because if you have none, then you've got less gap under the floor, and you want more pressure, more wind pressure under the floor. Don't exactly know why. All I know is that it creates a high and low pressure place, and I don't really know the advantages of that. But if you're going over curbs a lot, you probably want a higher floor. But even if like in Spa, you want quite low, you want around this height for Spa, just because there's no real curbs that you're going over, other than the bus stop chicane that you might go over. Obviously, same with rear, but the rear, it's actually more sensitive, I think. I kind of lied where I said when you go up and down one, but this one it's actually up and down one. That one it's probably about 2. So if I was to keep it at 19, if I got 17, then obviously yeah, that's gonna affect me loads. That's probably too low, because a 17 would be like if you have no elevation basically. Because if you look, it goes down to 15. So yeah. Obviously Imola has elevation, but obviously the curbs. Rear ride height. Just always think about that. The car is lower to the ground. No, higher at the back than it is at the front. So yeah. What I always do is I just look at these like visually, don't look at the numbers. I just go like, what do I think the front ride height would be, and I just match the lines up pretty much. You probably could go lower, but I'm not 100%. Brake bias, if you have ABS on, it doesn't matter. Your brake bias, but obviously if you have it off, then it does. I learnt this in Qatar, I think, when I did it. Basically, on the straights, if you are willing to change it, it's not going to affect you all the time, which it does for me, so I just keep it on 56 for this track. But if you can, for the straights, it's better to go 50. It gives you more stability, through corners without braking. Obviously when you brake, you're just gonna lock up more easily. But I had to keep it on what I would in the race, just because it's quite generic, and yeah, it's just easy for me. Like, I'm not always having to press buttons on each straight to oh god. Just started out to stop pressing buttons to change the brake bias into the corner. Brake pressure, normally, I say normally, you want it on 100. In Monaco, I don't have it on 100, because of that, the hairpin before, or just after the casino. Just because down there, it's very hard to not look up, especially in the race. So if you're going around, like, I don't know, if you're doing 20 laps, then it's going to be a bit hard for you to not look up. Tyres, the lower you go, the more traction you get, but it cools down the tyres more. So obviously that makes sense now that you see front tyres are max and rear tyres are minimum, because the rear tyres are the ones producing the traction and all of the grip and, you know, all of that, because obviously an F1 car is rear wheel drive, which means that if you're going to accelerate, then you're going to accelerate using the back wheels, which means that you need more traction. But what you can do, if you ever do need heat into the tyres, so if the tyres are getting too cold, which never happens in this game, is just go to about 22 maybe. probably about that. Just to warm up the tire. No, just to cool down the tires. Sorry. Oh, I said it wrong before. I just realised. So yeah, that's it. Obviously, that's my Imola setup. Top 11% Imola. I just set this time today, like I said. I'm not sure if I said that.